Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money.
That makes me want to do.
That's intro.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're listening to our replay. This is Fly Nubian Money. Today we're talking about something that's got everyone on social media buzzing. Offset telling men not to get married. Is this just celebrity talk, or is he pointing to a bigger truth about the pressures and expectations men face today? We'll break down what it really means for dating, commitment, and family life in the Black community. From finances to relationships to generational patterns, we're unpacking it all and asking, how do men and women navigate love and money in today's world? I am Dr. LaNée Javette, and I am joined with a dope panel of queens. We have Nomalanga in the building. We have Dr. Sabrina in the building. And somewhere we have Tiara, Miss Black Hollywood, Karma J in the building. Okay. Let me see. I just messed up my screen. There we go. All right. In the chat, let us know, what do you think? How are you feeling this morning? We're going to go to, we're going to watch our first video, which is the offset video, which is what our conversation is on. Then I'm going to get reactions from the queens after you see this video. If we can get the video. Hold on one second. I am going to try to help with the video. All right, well, let's just talk about it. Let's talk about marriage until we can get the video. Offset, I believe, is young. I know I don't believe he's younger. He is definitely younger. And I think we're starting to see a sentiment of young folks feeling a certain kind of a way about marriage. I don't know how familiar you guys are with Offset and or Cardi B's relationship and their marriage and how it ended. But what are your thoughts around young men maybe feeling pressured to be married due to it being a commitment more so than just like wealth or love? Like this younger generation, I feel like they feel like they're obligated to do it. So they're just trying it out, but they're not really making the commitment to be married. What are your thoughts on that, Dr. Sabrina?
Well, I think that means those of us that have been at it for a long time really do have some work to do, because some of the expectations are really unrealistic. And I think it takes really being mentored, being exposed in a lot of instances. A lot of these people, younger people, don't even have anybody modeling, a marriage, the ups and downs, the highs and the lows of a marriage, to even know, what is realistic. And it's so unfortunate to see this. It's very unfortunate anytime I see anybody whose marriage plays out in the media. And this couple, I am familiar with them. It's a lot of stuff I've seen posted, and I just kind of, shivered, shaking my head like, oh, you're public figures, but your business does not need to be out there like that. And so it's, it's really unfortunate. It really is.
Absolutely. What about you, Nomalanga?
Yeah, it's beyond the doctors. I think a lot of times people are doing marriage wrong, and they're seeing marriage done wrong. And that's what creates that sentiment of, I don't want any part of that. But marriage fundamentally is a need, and it's a good thing. And if there's anybody who needs marriage more than anybody else in the world, it's us Black people. We need all of the good things that it brings. And it's really sad to hear a young person saying that they don't see the value in it. I will say also the fact that we keep mentioning that he's young could be another issue. Men, I was actually just reading an article that said that women will typically kind of get to that good maturity age at about 32, and men not until after 40. So imagine taking an immature young man and trying to make him play house. It's going to go badly. It usually does. And then what makes it even worse is that they typically don't have a mom and dad who are also married to guide, or aunts and uncles, grandparents who kind of take them under their wings and guide them through the process. So yeah, it's going to go horribly wrong. And then they're going to blame marriage and not themselves.
Yeah, I think when you think about doing it young, so you're getting married young, but you're also doing it in front of the whole wide world where people are picking apart your relationship and feeding into it and causing rumors and stress and strife on top of just the regular normal issues of relationship and being young. It has to add more stress to it. Oh, look at Karma J's here. Let's go to our, do you want to weigh in before we go to video? Nope, but you still got a little bit of static, so let's go to video and we'll come right back.
Never get married again, you think?
No.
Why not?
It's not for me.
No? Why not?
I've done it, had 3 kids with it. It's like a mission that's been complete.
I feel like I'd want to get married though one day.
You got experience. You see, I experienced it, so I've already done it.
But you'd never want to be like, again, married happily ever after, like this is my chick forever type shit? Never?
No. Everything's temporary.
So would you recommend marriage?
No.
Or would you tell me like, yo, don't get married?
Yeah, I'll tell you, don't get married.
Don't get married. For what reason?
It's like a mission that's been complete. Again, what I just said, it's like a checkbox. Boop, boop. I did it, right?
I wanted to hear for what reason. He said for what reason, and then he didn't offer then he didn't speak more.
I don't know if we have the exact reason for what he said. We can cue back up to go see, but why? The question that the producer gave us was, why do you think Offset's comment resonated with so many men? But I don't know if it did or not. I didn't see the comments. So what I will ask instead is, do you think that Offset's comment resonates with many men? In the chat, let me know. Is that how you feel in the chat? As a man and or a woman who's dating men, do you feel that that is the sentiment that most men feel right now, where they don't want to get married? Or they've married, they've done it, and they don't want to do it again. Dr. Sabrina, we'll start with you.
Well, I have 2 sons. My younger son has expressed a similar sentiment. And I think it's because of the what he sees. A lot of people his age, he says, this is the way he tells me. It's like, Mom, things have changed since you got married. I mean, these women not the same. So in his mind, hey, I may just need to hang out, not even worry about doing this thing. Whereas I have an older son and, he's not opposed to it at all. But I think what's sad, we take marriage and we try it and we say it doesn't work. So I don't ever want to do it again. And I don't think anybody else should do it again. But there are so many other things in life that we experience and we do, and we don't have that view. He's an artist. You've produced records, you've had music, and I'm sure some of those records flopped. But you never said, I'm not going back into the studio again because this record didn't go platinum. I tried it and it didn't work out, so I'm not going to do that again. So it's just like, again, I hear you. What role are we playing in this, and what responsibility are we taking? Perhaps it wasn't that marriage was the bad thing. Maybe you made a bad selection in the partner. That could be the problem. Perhaps, maybe you would have done better just marrying somebody that did not have celebrity status, so that your marriage would not have been under a microscope the entire time. Because typically, you know, and I know we're going to get into another case here shortly, but it's a totally different circumstances. But a lot of times the people that are celebrities that don't marry celebrities, they can kind of slide on by without, you know, being under that microscope. But when you have two celebrities there, they're constantly under the microscope. I don't know. It's just sad that he feels that way. And as I say, other things he's done, you know, he had kids before. He didn't say, well, because I had one kid before, you know, I got having more kids. Obviously not.
I got that too. And I think you made a lot of good points. There's so many reasons as to why marriage doesn't work. Again, I think when you add in being young, if you haven't had a 2-parent household or you haven't seen it done, knowing how to do it, I think that the celebrityism, being out in the streets, being a public figure, being a rapper who's traveling a lot and women are throwing themselves, I think it's so many things. But young-minded, not necessarily being ready or prepared to get married. There's so many things that can lead a person to not having a successful marriage. Especially, I don't even know if they're 30 yet. I think, let's say that they're between 27 and 33. Between 27 and 33, you don't know nothing. You don't know nothing about life. You know nothing about trying. You don't know nothing about having to work through some difficult times. But again, to add on to that, you have the pressures of the world. It makes you look crazy to then go out and sit in front of the world and say, don't do it. I understand if you don't want to do it, but then to turn around and tell somebody else, don't do it.
Do it.
I think that that's the only part with what he said that kind of like, just because your situation didn't work out doesn't mean that somebody else should do it. You just weren't the man in that moment to be married. Nomalanga, do you believe that men today feel pressured to either get married or avoid marriage? Do you think that, I'm not even going to say due to social media, but just with what's happening in the world and relationships and dating in general, do you think that men feel pressured to avoid marriage or get married?
I think it's interesting that we apply these things to marriage, but we never say things like, do you feel pressure to go to college? Or do you feel pressure to get a job? Do you feel pressure to take care of your child? Do you feel pressure to be responsible? Those are just milestones in life. And marriage is a normal thing. In other words, it's a stage in life that most people are supposed to pass through. Now, do people feel pressure to do it or not do it? I think in this day and age, actually, there's less pressure to do it. When my grandparents were growing up, there was a lot more pressure, and there was more pressure to do it younger. And I'm starting to understand the reasons why they wanted you to do it younger. But the pressure is not to do it. I think it's just this thing of knowing you're supposed to do it, but feeling like you're inadequate somehow, or you don't have the tools, or you don't feel like you'll be successful. That's what a lot of people experience. And to be honest, nobody wants to do something that they feel like they're going to fail at, and they don't know what the solution is, and nobody around them knows what the solution is. So you're just kind of thrown into this thing that's supposed to work, but it doesn't, and you don't feel like you know how to make it work. That's a horrible thing. Nobody can, as a teaching and background, you can often hear students when they struggle with a concept, they tend to start making fun of it or saying it's stupid or it's not necessary. It's a very normal response to something that you feel like you cannot do. You just kind of reject the thing. But I think what we're really struggling with is people who don't want to. Marriage grows you whether you like it or not. It investigates who you are, what you're capable of, and it filters out a lot of the ugly things in you so that you can deal with them. And some people are not willing to do that.
Yeah, our executive producer brought up some good points. Cardi B said she caught Offset cheating every single month. He did not commit to the marriage. He didn't do marriage. Some say he was jealous of Cardi B, right? So some of it, again, goes back to the mate that you choose, the person who you're married to. You can't be in competition with that individual, man or woman. We're talking about men in marriage today, but it can go either way. Especially now you got these women out here making all the money. They in competition with their husband's competition with their wives. It goes both ways. This is not a man or a woman thing. But it does speak to whether or not he was ready for marriage, right? And so if he was not ready for marriage and he got married and it didn't turn out the way he wanted it to, he kind of got what he wanted in a way. And so to walk away from the marriage saying, I checked the box, I did it, mission accomplished. Did you really? Because you didn't really go into it wholeheartedly. You didn't really go into it wanting to be with this one individual. You got married, you were married, you had the day, you checked the box, but did you actually have a relationship? Let's go to commercial. We'll come back and keep the conversation going.
It's a good show right here. But I'm biased. If you are just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I'm the proud producer of this show because it is lit. If you want to receive notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948. That's Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948. Also, if you want to grow your money and not blow your money, all you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, there's courses, there's free giveaways. There's just no reason to be broke in 2025. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. Obviously, you don't want to be entertained here. You want to know enough to grow. Wait, I need to put that on a shirt. You got to know to grow. Got to know to grow. So know and grow with flynubianmoney.com.
So you said you'd never get married again, you think?
No,
Why not?
it's not for me.
No? Why not?
I've done it, had 3 kids with it. It's like a mission that's
Okay.
been complete.
How old are you now? 33?
33, yeah.
I'm 31. So I'm like, I feel like I'd want to get married though one day,
You got to experience. You see, I
Yeah.
experienced it, so I've already done it.
but you would never want to be like, again, married happily ever after, like this is my chick forever type shit. Never?
No. Everything's temporary.
So would you recommend marriage?
No.
Or would you tell me like, yo, don't get married?
Yeah, I'll tell you, don't get married.
Don't get married. For what reason?
I would say, unless you're cool with changing your life entirely. You got a partner that's different.
I know,
Especially when
that's
it's
what's
written
tough.
and it's a real thing. Like, this partner's different.
Oh, yeah, that's what I think about too. Even getting a girlfriend, it's like, it's such a big
This is
commitment,
how
right?
we move, like, for our careers and shit. It's just hard.
So basically, I want to be a little kid and I want to grow up and I don't want to be responsible for anybody else. I want to still sleep around and do what I want to do. And that's okay. Know that before you get married. There's nothing wrong with him wanting to do and be who he wanted to do and be. Just don't drag somebody else into it with you, A. And B, don't be out here telling somebody else what to do and not to do because it didn't work for you. If it didn't work for you, that's fine. Just say, I wasn't in a place where I could do that. I still want to be out here getting all the coochie. Just say that. Like, I don't want to settle down. I want to have some kids and I want to run these streets. There's nothing wrong with that. I only have a problem with it when, so our producer says he asked her to marry him because he cheated on her. And it's so sad and unfortunate that a lot of marriages start out due to some type of a trauma. Something happened, man or a woman. The man want to be with the woman. The woman's like, I don't really want to. She still want to be out. She get caught up and she's like, okay, fine, let's get married. Or the other way around. Okay, let's get married. People get pressured into getting married because they don't want to lose the person, but they really don't want to be with the person either. So now that you've heard the reason, Nomalanga, now what do you think? Now that you've heard his reasoning, do you think that generations view marriage differently? So Offset is 32, 33. Do you think his view on marriage is different at that age and in that generation than in other generations?
So a 31, 32-year-old celebrity getting married was a recipe for disaster, as we can see, especially when he didn't even understand what he was getting into. And even the things he says are total garbage. He says everything is temporary. No, marriage is forever. It's not temporary. Then he says something, then you said something like he was caught cheating. So I cheated, and to prove that I won't cheat, I'm going to marry you and then cheat. None of it makes sense. I'm going to prove if you marry me while, and okay, so the other thing that I don't like is people talking about cheating when there is no marriage. When you're not married, you're free to do whatever you want. The whole idea about exclusivity is if you want to be exclusive with another person, put a ring on it. The reason why people go around and round in circles and wondering, why will he marry me? Why won't he marry me? And all these other stuff is because we give people privileges, marriage privileges, and we're not married to them. Exclusivity is supposed to be for marriage. So to say he cheated on what or who? He was not married. But again, that should be an indicator of who he is. If he told her he was committed to her and wanted to only be with her and then didn't do what he said. I'll go back to the point of him being 31, 32, 33. Even 35 is still young for a man. They're just starting to get to know who they are, and whether anybody likes that I keep saying it or not, we're like 10 years apart when it comes to our maturity, especially when it comes to building a marriage and building a family and having children. It gets better as we get older. Like you can get two 45-year-olds, a man and a woman, and they'll be okay. But if you take a 25-year-old man and then you take a 35-year-old woman, it'll never work. That's a recipe for disaster. But it can work on the flip side. You take a 25-year-old woman and you give her a 35-year-old man, it may work. So those are just some of the things. And I think sometimes maybe our ignorance also gets us into trouble.
Definitely our ignorance and our not understanding what marriage is, not having seen marriage, not really understanding what marriage. I was having this conversation the other day. The value of marriage is very different to this younger generation, right? They do it for the wedding day. They do it for the Instagrammable moments, but not necessarily understanding what it means to be married, the ups and the downs, the trials and tribulations. He is right. You do have to make some changes. You do have to give some things up. You can't, it's not getting married and just still being cool. And we still the same. We still don't fist bump and kick it. Things do change. There are some differences that have to happen. And I think that if you have not seen that, if you have not experienced that, if you don't have any men or women, because it's not a man thing, right? If you don't have any grown-ass men or grown-ass women who are going to pull you to the side and say, hey, that's not what you do. That's not how it goes. Or somebody that you can go to and talk to and say, hey, I'm feeling this way. I'm experiencing this. Or even before you get married, I don't know if this is really what I want to do just yet right now. I'm having some second thoughts. Should I talk to her? Whatever the case might be, this is where that village comes in. This is where community comes in. Somebody you could talk to, somebody you trust, somebody you can go to. Dr. Sabrina, what role do you think that upbringing and family structure plays in men making a commitment, or in a couple being successful in relationship, or knowing how to talk about what we expect from each other in a relationship?
I think it makes a lot of difference, because it's hard to do things that you've never seen done. If you've never had it modeled for you, it's kind of hard to emulate it. And I'll use this example. I remember when I was in graduate school, I had a moment where I was struggling. I was trying to get that dissertation done, and I literally was struggling. And I called home to my mom for, I don't know why I called her, but I did. And, she's trying her best to comfort me. And she says, well, it'll be fine, and on and on and on. And I just said, you don't understand. You've never done this before. How can you just say that so casually? And she paused and said, you're absolutely right. I have never done what you're trying to do, but you're not the only one that has tried to do what you're trying to do. There are other people on their campus who look like you, who have successfully done it. Now you go find them and you get the help that you need. And so I think I use that analogy to say, when you find people who have done what you're trying to do, and share that hardship and those stories and have those people in your life that can encourage you. It makes a very big difference. But trying to do something that, in your mind, nobody around me, none of my boys are married. They don't understand. Or if they are married, it didn't work out for them. See, I told you, marriage don't work. None of my boys stayed married. So it makes it so much easier for you to cop out, if you will, when you have not had that model before you. And it's interesting, even with this couple being as high profile as they are, I have to wonder, like, somebody got to, I'm gonna go somewhere else with this, you guys, just a moment. Somebody got to Jay-Z and Beyonce when they were going through their little, that elevator moment. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Somebody got to them and told them, pulled them to the side and said, look now, it's a lot riding on this marriage right here. Y'all go to this corner, you go to this corner, and y'all figure this thing out. But this family unit needs to stay together. Obviously, they didn't have anybody around them that had that kind of conversation with them, because at the end of the day, we're talking marriage, but what about the family? We got 3 children involved here. What about the family?
I think that goes back to that village piece. I was having a conversation with my other, and we were talking about the importance of making sure that you have relationship with each other's family, because when something happens or goes wrong, that's who you should go to. And I was telling him about a time when I really needed to talk to somebody about some stuff that we were dealing with and going through. And I was like, I didn't want to call any of my homegirls, because I was like, they're going to ride for me. I need to talk to somebody that has love for you. I need to talk to somebody that has your best interest at heart. They do now. This was earlier on. They do now. Now I can talk to them and be like, girl, that is the best thing that ever happened to you. They do now. But you need somebody that's not trying to sabotage your relationship, that loves you and your family and your children, and they want to see you do well. Not to the determinant where if this man is hurting you or this woman is hurting you or putting hands on you, not like that, where they just stay blindly, but where they help you to kind of get with yourself and be like, well, is that what he really meant? Or is that what she really meant? Or how can you do better? How can you be better? Now I say that to say this, I don't think that was the situation. I think that there are some situations where if you recognize that this person's behavior is not going to change, like he walked into the situation already knowing that this wasn't going to end well, already knowing that it wasn't going to change his life, already knowing like she's bigger than him, more notoriety than him. I felt like he kind of rode the coattail a little bit to help catapult himself, and then lived off of that and used it against her. So you also have to be careful, women and men, when you go into relationships with people, that you're not sleeping with your enemy. I think that that's important, because I don't think that this in particular person, and it happens more times than to celebrities, where you get with somebody who's not really in it to be with you. They're just in it to ride with you. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and we're going to keep the conversation going.
I know you're busy, you got things to do, and you can't take us on the go with you every single day. Good news for you. We are now on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, now you can listen to us on Spotify. Search Fly Nubian Money and all the episodes shall appear. All you have to do is like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, leave some comments, tell people how you love us, so that when other people come along and are looking for a great show to watch, they can find Fly Nubian Money too. One last thing, and just in case you've been sitting under a rock, Fly Nubian Money now has an investment club. We are the Fly Nubian Money Club. It's easy. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com, and I am committed to bringing in top experts from all industries to help you level up. They're teaching us the skills that we need to compete in this market. We often say that nobody is coming to save us, not the government, but guess what? We're coming to save us. I'm coming to save you with the Fly Nubian Money Club. So listen, all you have to do again is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. We have a 30-day free trial set up just for you, just for those people that are struggling. Even if you ain't struggling, you ain't got to struggle. I'm coming. Okay, let me stop playing. I'll see you soon.
Listen, we coming for you. L. Williams said it. He thought he made her, but now she's up and he can't handle it. Listen, there's so many reasons why these things happen. And let me say this, it happens both ways. Man, woman, woman, man. We're about to watch another situation that's currently playing out in the media of a couple that's going through a messy divorce because, again, just picked the wrong person at the wrong time. Let's go to that video.
Tyreek Hill, football player, wide receiver for Miami Dolphins, has dealt with a divorce from a woman after just 17 months, in which she has taken a $500,000 lump sum cash amount from him. She's been given $20,000 to $50,000 a month alimony and been given exclusive access and use to his $5.5 million mansion with all expenses paid. Wi-Fi, phone, rent, cable, everything involved with that property. The first thing you need to understand as men is that unlike the female, society is not going to safeguard you from your bad choices. Unlike women, we have to be accountable for every single decision we make. The other way around, a woman gets pregnant, she wants to abort the child, she has the right. She wants to drop the child off at a fire station or a gas station or church, she has the right. She wants to put you on the hook for child support and run you through the court and financially destroy you, she has the right. You, on the other hand, as a man, will always be held accountable for your choices. So that's the first thing. You need to be accountable for every single decision you make. Second thing I'll tell you is that the woman you decide to marry is probably one of the most crucial, important decisions you'll ever make in your life. She will either enhance and build the life that you have, or she will diminish and destroy your life. Mentally, emotionally, financially, all three. And last but not least, any man who has created and built some kind of wealth and assets for himself, it is your responsibility to safeguard said assets and wealth. Whether you get a prenup, a postnup, you create a trust, anything that is yours coming into the situation, and I recommend this for women as well, it is your responsibility to make sure. Because at the end of the day, when people get into these commitments, they don't necessarily plan to fail. They just fail to plan. So
listen, that's why I said this is not a man thing. We are equal opportunists on Fly Nubian Money Club. We're going to talk about the women and we're going to talk about the men. We're going to talk about everybody because it's not a gender thing. Have you heard about this Tyreek Hill divorce? Nomalanga, is this your first time hearing about it? Have you been hearing about it?
So I've seen it on my timeline on Facebook. I don't know who they are. But the story is like almost repetitive, where it's somebody who's very wealthy, whether it's from football or rapping or whatever. Then he marries somebody, and then soon after they get divorced, and then she takes him to the cleaners. Did I get it?
Basically. 17 months. 17 months. They've been married for 17 months. This lady, I think it's like $40,000 a month. Access to his $5 million mansion or something like that. And producer, let me know if they have a kid. I can't remember if they have a kid or not. But in 17 months, her payment every month now is $40,000.
See, here's the thing. We are now having the conversation, and this man who was talking just now is talking about, well, he didn't choose well, and now he has to pay because he didn't choose well. Because the implication is that she married because she wanted to get that paycheck, right? Or she wanted to get that pay when she left him. But having a lot of money doesn't mean you can't be a horrible person. And that when you marry somebody, they can't turn around and just be so traumatized that they want to get out of there as soon as possible. And then also because of their trouble of what they've gone through, they do get paid for it. And if you didn't want that to happen, you would have, like this other gentleman said, you would have safeguarded your things. But the fact of the matter is he saw some value in her. Now, the value that a man sees in a woman isn't the same as the value that a woman sees in a man. Let's just start with that, right? Sometimes what he values is that she's really, really pretty. And she's got a banging body or whatever the lingo is. And that's the value. And it's very high value for him because he's willing to put a ring on it. So let's not try and pretend that everybody didn't go after what they valued and it went wrong. right? He got the woman, he gets to be with her however long it was. For him, it happens to have been 17 months. For some people, it's 5 years, 10 years, whatever. But I don't like this conversation where they try to reframe it that when a man and a woman split up, the one who had the most money was the noble one, and the one who gets a paycheck afterwards was the horrible person. A woman could go into a marriage fully immersing herself and wanting to be in there forever, and then turns out that she's married to the worst person and she just needs to get away. Now, if she has children, of course she should try and get as much as she can so that those children can be taken care of. And if he promised her a certain kind of life and lifestyle, of course he has to do that, because now he has disrupted her life the way it was before. So I think that sometimes we try to lean onto this side of the fence of, well, he made a bad decision. She could have made a bad decision too.
That's a theory. That's definitely a theory. Dr. Sabrina, what do you think?
Well, I think a lot. I think a lot about this one right here. First, because of my whole platform, life and legacy planning, I got to go back to what that brother said. To all of the young men and women, when you go into these relationships with some dollars, please do some pre-planning up front. Holler at me if you want to discuss trust further. Had to put that public service announcement out there. Now that I got that out the way, I don't know. I know that a lot of times these celebrities, whether they are men or women, because we want to be fair, a lot of times they can be targets by people who may only see the dollar signs. They may not be there for love. They certainly may not be there for long. They're just kind of in for or out for what they can get. And it's so unfortunate because, someone like a Tyreek Hill, could experience something like a 17-month marriage to somebody that walks away with this type of settlement. And then we have comments from him like Offset, I'm never doing this again. Marriage is the worst thing ever. So, yeah, I think we've got to do better. And I'm going to put it back on again. People like me, myself, and others who have been at this for a long time. I think there are a lot of things that we can offer to younger couples. And when I read Dr. Boyce's books, The 10 Commandments, I really had a totally different view of family and the importance of family, and how every time we make that decision, hey, we can't get along, we can't work it out, what that does for the family. And so I think, sometimes we just gotta really think about what we're doing, not just to ourselves. And again, Dr. LaNée, if someone is putting their hands on you, putting you in a situation where you could be physically harmed, that's totally different. That's not what we're talking about here. And that's not what we're encouraging. But in situations where, they're just personalities, I can't get along with this person, you can't get along with that person, there are just some things you gotta, you need to work out. You need to work out. And it does take being mature. And quite honestly, a lot of times these people are not getting married at ages where they are mature. But I will go back to myself. I got married at 25. I wasn't necessarily there, but I have grown. That's the thing that's so disappointing. We don't even see 17 months. You haven't even given your marriage long enough to grow in it. It's sad.
Man, you guys have said so many great things. It is sad. It's sad anytime that a Black man or a Black woman is in a situation to build love and wealth and it crumbles. I cannot help myself in saying this, and I wish I could not say it, but I can't help myself in saying this, so I'm going to say it. I think that if more Black men and Black women came together, and I think this is Tyreek and his girl right here, right? And my executive producer said, I think she got some black in her. She might have some black in her. She might have some black in her. She like she do, but it could be the hair. I don't know. And I don't want to make an ignorant statement by saying she don't. But what I will say is the bulk, the majority of these situations that we see happening are not happening between black men and black women. They're happening with black men and white women. The majority, not
That's
all,
true. That's
not
true.
all, just the majority, right? And that is not to 100% say if you had a black man with a black woman, it wouldn't happen. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that if you have somebody that is in the struggle with you, who wants to also make marriage a working priority, damn it, I just got convicted. You do have some black women baddies, like I forget the old girl name, the swimsuit lady. You do have some women out here that are taking advantage of men. But I think my original statement still stands. Black men and black women who get together and understand the struggle and understand what we're working for and what we're working towards, and have two families that support and a village that support, I feel like you will have more success than a woman who is just with you for your money. But also, going back to what Dr. Sabrina said, when you get with somebody at a young age and you build together, right? They're not coming in to take what you have right now, something that they don't have any grit in, no grind in. They haven't sacrificed for it. They see what you have and they come in and be like, I want to be a part of that. I want to hook my buggy to you. Again, man or woman. You see what happened with Mary J. Blige and her husband. This is not a man bashing thing, right? This is a who are we aligning ourselves with thing. How well do we know them? How do they complement our life? How do they complement our goals and our beliefs? How do they feel about how we're going to rear our children? Who do they pray to? Like, if we don't align ourselves and be equally yoked in that capacity, in that way, when hard times come, when it's 17 months, they'll be out on us. We have to make sure that we're picking and choosing people who we've communicated with, who we've talked to, who want to be in it for the long haul.
Dr. LaNée, I had a friend in graduate school who now is a minister, and I guess we should have seen it back then. But he said something to me about his perspective on marriage, and something that he and his wife agreed to from the start. He said their thing was divorce was not an option. It just wasn't an option. I mean, you can say what you want, you can do what you want, but at the end of the day, don't make it an option. And when you don't make it an option, it's easier to work through some things when you don't necessarily have that out. And I thought that, that was an interesting perspective that he and his wife took. But he said that's the way they have always viewed their marriage for them. There are going to be some highs, there are going to be some lows, but at the end of the day, divorce is just not one of the options. Now, we may not talk for a while. You might have to go in your corner, I go in mine. You stay on your half of the house and I stay in mine. But at the end of the day, he says divorce is not an option for them.
Okay. We're going to dive into that. Let's go to commercial and then we're going to come back and we're going to finish that thought.
Are you a Black business owner looking to expand your reach? Well, has Fly Nubian Money got good news for you? We are building a Black business directory to connect you with customers who need your services. And here is the best part. It is absolutely free. Email us at info@realvirtual.net. Send us your business name. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what services you offer, your website address, and your contact information. That's it. Together, we are going to build and circulate the Black dollar. Get listed today and start connecting with people who are probably already looking for you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You brought up some really good points, Dr. Sabrina. The couples that, we do see that make it to the end are the ones who say there's no other option. There's no plan B. We're going to have to figure this out. You ain't leaving. I ain't leaving. Don't matter how messy you get, no matter how dirty you get, we're going to figure it out. Those are the people, the couples that we see make it through. The ones that are like, if this doesn't work, we'll just do something different. You have given yourself an out. So I concur. How do you think, let's go to some stats and then I have another question. Okay, perfect. Before we get to that, how can couples, or what do you think, how can couples have honest conversations about marriage and expectations? Because I talked to my guy and I was like, hey, how would you feel about premarital counseling? I didn't think I didn't know what he was going to say. I thought, because he's super intelligent, he's super smart. We have a lot of deep conversations, and so we have talked out and talked through a lot of the things that I feel like they would ask us. But just from a religious standpoint, and from, I've never been married before. He's been married twice. I would just feel like we should probably go and have some, let's go talk to somebody, maybe something we haven't thought of. And he was like, I think it'd be a good idea. And I was like, all right, cool. And so how do you broach an honest conversation with somebody that you're thinking about marrying? This is what I expect from a husband. This is what I expect from a wife. Are you willing to do this? Is this? And then when should you be having these conversations? Are you 3 years in by the time you'll be like, what do you think a wife should be? Are you having this in the first 3 months? Go ahead. Okay. Nomalanga was like, no. What do you think?
So again, we're at that point where we're talking about people who seem to have a lack of community and a lack of family structure. First of all, when you're 25 years old, 22 or whatever it is, my parents got married when my mother was 22 and my father was 24. They were young. They didn't know much about much. And how would she even know what to ask him? How would she know what to expect? And how would he know? See, that's why it's important where your mother and your father are the ones who are going to be talking to his mother and father and looking at their background and their expectations, their values, their culture and their family and so on. And they're the ones who have that conversation. And then children can have a conversation guided by their parents. Or sometimes I've known families where the parents talked and one set of parents was like, hell no, you are not marrying that person. And unfortunately, that a lot of times what that does is it reinforces, I want that person, and then, 5-10 years down the line, they're divorced and then they're like, oh, my mother did say, or my father did say, so I think that's where sometimes we're going wrong, where how do we even know enough about ourselves? How do we know enough about marriage to know what to ask and what to expect? You need that outside influence, especially in the beginning, especially when you're younger, to guide those discussions, and people who've been through things and kind of ask you like, okay, what if down the line his mom or dad is sick or dies or whatever it is? How do we handle that? Sick child, family conflicts. What I mean is like in-laws that are meddling. Do you know if he's going to stand up for you, if she's going to stand? All of those things. How does anybody ever know those things when they've never been in that situation? So it's so important to get people who've actually been through that and have a background of a family that values marriage, and they know that these are the things that work. Let's find out if these things are in place, because no matter who says what, I hear people say, well, everybody does what they think works for them. That's not true. There are fundamentals. Fundamentals that if you don't put those things in place, there are deal breakers. And if you don't put those things in place, you're headed for a disaster. That's just a fact. So I think that's where we go wrong. But to answer your question, whether you should be having those conversations in the beginning, absolutely. And also, you shouldn't have to be dating feeling like you're being interrogated or you're being in an interview. But there are ways in which you can have conversations that people will tell you a lot about themselves, and you can discern and deduce what you're headed for and what they value and what you can expect from them.
I like that. Who is it? Black Lexicon. Black Lexicon said this subject has many elephants in the room. List the elephants. I want to talk about it in the last couple minutes that we have. List the elephants. Cultural pressure. 70% of men say family expectations influence their views on marriage, which I think is true. Whether you have two parents or you don't, or a parent is speaking to you, you need to be married, you don't need to be married, whatever the case might be. We do control that. Divorce and financial impact. Divorce costs in the United States average $20,000 to $30,000 per individual. So in each. So that was that like $40,000 to $60,000? No, I think each divorce. Marriage rates in Black communities lower than national average, influenced by financial, social, and systemic factors. And then median age for first marriage is currently men is 30, women is 28. I think that's elevated because we're seeing this younger generation wait longer to get married. So let's go to video and then we'll come back and talk about some final thoughts.
Dating after divorce. Yes, I'm sorry to hear that the relationship didn't work out, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel and you can find love again. Allow me to give you a couple of principles that you can date by. Number one, be open. Be open to the people you meet. Be open to the way you meet them. A lot of times, if you've dated in the past, you have a closed mentality that I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And that's not conducive to finding a new person in this new environment. The second thing is you got to give yourself permission to love again and trust again. No one can do that for you. You got to say, I'm willing to open myself up for love and to trust for the right person. Number three, you gotta not expect someone to do something or be something that you're not. Here's what I mean. If you say, I've gotta have a person that's six-pack, that works out all the time, gotta have a person that makes a certain amount of money, then you have to be that person that works out. You gotta be that person who's fiscally responsible, because you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. Number four is you gotta be willing to set boundaries. If your boundary is, hey, you don't talk to me a certain way, you have got to honor that boundary and you have to enforce that boundary. And last but not least, you have to focus on your healing, reflect where you came from, reflect how you got here and what you learned from your last relationship that you no longer want to do and the things that you want to do in your next one.
Okay, that was good. Black Lexicon said one of the elephants in the Tyree case was that divorce represents a wealth distribution shift. That's kind of what I was going at when I was talking earlier about these black men that are dating others and divorcing, and they're getting all of their money, right? You listen. You don't even gotta marry him. Shannon Sharp just gave $20 million to a 21-year-old other, right? You don't even gotta. They gonna come and take it, right? But when you get into certain spaces and elevations, especially sports, entertainment, the rooms that you go into and the people that they introduce you to are the others. They literally walk your wealth into a room and present you to the others so that the others can hitch their wagon to you to be a part of that wealth. The people that they put around you, your management team, the others, right? We need to surround our people of influence and of money. Family needs to surround them. Their management, their team should around them should look like us. You have, and I hate to throw this young lady under the bus. I'm not even going to say her name. I won't say her name. But what I will say is she has a baby by Bow Wow. She has a baby by, I think it's Future. I could be wrong. And she has a baby by this football player now. So one woman, she's a dancer. She got a baby by Bow Wow, Future, and this major football player. Like, what rooms are you in? How are you meeting these types of people to have three different baby daddies of that wealth status, right? So some of it is you have to know that some of this is a setup. It's a setup.
Can I give
outside of our community? Go ahead.
Can I give a different perspective?
Go for it.
Here's the thing. We place a very low value on access to us and our bodies as women. If you look at some cultures, if you even sleep with somebody's daughter, the family expects you to marry her because that's how high of a value they place on her and access to her. Now here's I'm thinking about the Shannon Sharp thing, and I was like, he paid 20 million, and I was like, yeah, good. Why did he think he could take somebody's daughter and use up her body and have no consequences? But that's the culture that we live in, that men think that they can do that. And we place so much value on how much money he has, because that's how the conversation keeps shifting. Well, he had so much money and then he got like a girl with nothing. And now look, she got all his money. But this is because we've devalued her because she didn't have money. We've literally said money is more important and makes him more important. And if he leaves and then she gets some of his money, then she's the one who's robbed him. We never looked at the fact that he had access to her and her body and he did something to her. And again, people are going to say, well, it's not worth 20 million. Well, because again, we're devaluing the women. And that's, again,
devaluing themselves. If you
absolutely
walk into a room and sell your body, get into a
But
situation.
it's worth 20 million.
Have
Like
a
that
baby,
girl from
and then
Shannon
be like, I
Sharp,
want
it's
half of
worth
what you
20
have.
million. He doesn't think he should. She values herself at 20 million. After he got access to her. That's, and I mean, that's borderline selling yourself. I get it. But again, she didn't devalue herself. She placed her value at 20 million. And everybody's like, oh no, she should not have.
Are we talking about Shannon Sharp situation?
Yeah. He paid 20 million for access to her.
I think he valued his peace of mind. So at the time, Shannon Sharp had a $100 million ESPN deal on the line. Paying that lady 20 million to keep 100 million was a business move. I don't think she valued herself at 20 million. I think it was hush money to make her go away so that he could go and sign this $100 million contract.
You're missing my point. There's women who will, and I'm not co-signing any of this, right? I have very traditional values, but there are women who will go sleep with Pookie, right? Who has nothing and they gain nothing. And there are women like the one you mentioned, got Bow Wow and Tua. It's because that's where she's placing her access to her. You see?
I understand what you're saying, and I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying, I understand what you're saying, and we're saying the same thing differently. These women are putting themselves in situations and places, to your point, because they feel like they're valuable to be in these places, but on the other side, they're robbing these men. I feel like I am of value, and because I'm of value and I have access and I'm in this room and I let you sleep with me, now you owe me. That's transactional. But we got like 4 minutes left, so we're gonna do final. Woo, 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 woo. It's always a good time on Fly Newbie Money, right? And I love that we don't take women. We don't male bash. Sometimes we talk about the women. Sometimes we talk about the men. It's equal opportunity around here. So we're gonna do final thoughts today, right? If you had to talk to a young person, man or woman, and give them advice on marriage, whether to do it, not to do it, or how to do it, what would you say? Dr. Sabrina, will begin with you, and make sure you tell people where they can find you.
Okay. The first thing I would say is wait. I would say wait. Don't do it at a young age. Don't do it at a young age. As I say, I did it at 25, and thinking back now, I probably should have waited till I was 35, because there are so many aspects of yourself that you don't even know. And it takes time to get to know yourself. You asked the question earlier about, when is it time to have certain conversations? And as Nomalanga mentioned, there are some things you just don't even know to ask. So I would tell, my advice would be to wait, to spend time getting to know yourself, getting to learn who you are, what your values are, what your goals are, what you're trying to do. Become the best version of yourself that you can be. And then only start to look for or seek, someone else to add to that mix. That would be my advice. And that's exactly what I tell my sons. That's exactly the advice that I give them. With that being said, this has been a great conversation today. Thank you for having me. I am Dr. Sabrina Edmond Williams, educator, author, and investor. Opening minds and closing contracts. I am so noted, and I'm so excited and delighted to be here, and would love to work with any of you that are interested in learning more about life and legacy planning. You can follow me across social media platforms at I Am So Noted. That's IAMSEWNOTED.
Thank you so much for being here, and as always, adding to the conversation. You're much, much appreciated. Okay, Nomalanga, what about you?
So final thoughts are actually very short. I kind of said it earlier. I think that what we need to do is get in an environment where, let's say you don't have the family background that has had success in building marriages and building family. Get around people who have that success. They don't always have to be your own relatives. They can just be people in your church, in your social clubs or whatever it is. And that's a good starting point. We do that with entrepreneurship. We do that when we try to start businesses and we try to do other things. When you try to become a superstar at a sport, you get coaches, you get around the environment of other athletes who are training at the level you're training at. It's just a principle of, if you want to do something well, get around people who have a proven history of doing it well, and then follow their guidelines, follow their advice, and let them guide you and help you. That's really what it is. Ultimately, it's better if those people are your own family, but we don't all have that privilege, and we can work with what we have. That being said, my name is Nomalanga, and I am the founder of Paths for Our Girls, which can be found at pathsforourgirls.com. It's a charity organization that we founded in Botswana that helps young girls who experience period poverty, and sometimes they miss schools and social events because they just don't have the sanitary supplies that they need. If you feel compelled to help us, you can go to pathsforourgirls.com and make a donation. Any little amount helps, and it's always appreciated. And while I'm here, I want to say thank you, because the Fly Nubian family and community are so supportive of our charity. Every time that I look, there's people who have said, I saw you at Fly Nubian Queen or Fly Nubian Money, and I love what you're doing, and here's my donation.
That's so awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you to the community, and thank you for what you're doing as well. My final thought is basically we're all kind of coming from the same place. Get married when you're ready to get married. Don't be peer pressured into it. Don't do it because somebody got caught or somebody cheated. Don't do it because your mama told you to. Get married when it makes sense to you, when you understand it, when you can be the type of wife or husband that person deserves, when you can be the type of mother and father that your children deserve, when you're at a place where you can put your ego to the side and stand beside your significant other and dig into the dirt and go through all the things, the highs and the lows. That's when you get married. And a lot of times that's not when you're young. Heck, some of y'all, it's not when you get older either, but that's another topic for another day. I'm Dr. LaNée Vet. I am a brand new brilliance coach and strategist. I help entrepreneurs who package and sell their expertise to monetize it so you get paid for what you know. And today's conversation has been I think it's important to have these types of conversations around marriage and relationship, especially in our community, because we need to know that it takes more than just love and like, right? You got to get down, you got to be down, you got to show up, you got to go through the mud. And it takes a lot to do that. You have to know your other person. You have to have grace. You have to have patience. You have to say, this is my person, and no matter what, I'm not leaving. No matter what, within reasons, we're talking about, this is my person. And so I hope you guys enjoyed today's conversation as we dived into this, because these conversations are necessary and needed as this next generation comes into relationship. They're looking at us. They're listening to us, and we have to make sure that we're giving good, solid advice back to them so that they can have healthy relationships. With that, we thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. We'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. Go out and have a great day. Be blessed, be beautiful, be one. We'll see you guys tomorrow.